Hi, Tim Sales here. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the moment of truth. Can I really do this? Am I good enough? That's what I'm going to talk about. All right, so I don't know anybody that I've ever worked with that hasn't had this question. Can I really do this? Am I good enough? And I do know that some people should have pondered that a little bit more because they had a lot of arrogance. I remember somebody who, there was somebody who was, just crushing it, and there was a very successful person in the room. And then later the person said, I underestimated, like that person didn't have any education. That person didn't have all of the credentials and the initials behind their name and all of those things that this person had. And said, I really actually, that was quite arrogant of me to say. And so this series that I've been going through here has had to do with self-invalidation, and not a salesperson. The only one of these, and these are past videos that I've done. The only one of these that I didn't have is tried it before and it didn't work when I first get started. Okay. But I built a business, sold over $1 billion of products. I sold that business back to the company. And then later I would come and do it again. And so I technically did get to face this one again. Tried it before, did it successfully before. Can I do it again? Okay. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to set you at ease if you have any of these. All right, because, and I'm going to walk through it here. I'm not going to say because, I'm just going to walk through it. So first thing that you have to do is you just have to look down through this. I'm not a salesperson. I can't do it. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I don't know how. I don't know anybody that would want to do it or that, whatever. Okay. And this is, the original video I did on this was pessimism versus optimism. And it has to do with when a person throws out an idea. It's like a football pass, right? And they throw out an idea and they are then going to just immediately have an idea back of that's going to be difficult. That's going to be too expensive. That's going to be, right? And so that person gets that recoil immediately as soon as they throw out an idea. And if it stops the person, then they never even try. All right. And that is sad. And it probably is, it causes more failure than anything else in the world. It's not opportunity. It's not where you live. It's not, anything. It is that a person throws that back, they get a pessimistic reply from themselves, and they just decide right there. Can't do it. Okay? And so that's the reason I named this the moment of truth. And it's going to have two different meanings by the time that I'm done here. So the grandfather of pessimism is Oppenheimer. I think that's the way you say his name. If I just goofed it up, I'm sorry. And it's, I can't win. Therefore, the only victory is in refusing to try to win. And if you just walk that through, and you might pause the video and go back through that, because there's a lot in that statement. In other words, you throw out an idea, you get a recoil back that says that might be expensive, or that might be difficult, or that might whatever. And so then what do? Instead of going ahead and accomplishing it, confronting whatever comes your way because of it, instead, therefore, the only victory. So you first assume I can't do it. I don't have time. I don't have money. I can't. Therefore, the only victory that you can actually sit with is in refusing to try to win. Okay? And I know it's harsh a little bit, and I'm not trying to be mean to anybody in this conversation at all. It's just, if you really take each piece and you put it on a piece of paper or on a whiteboard and you begin to move this stuff around as independent things, you'll look at it and you'll come to the same conclusion. That's what it is. It's that you invalidated yourself before you even try. And you're not going to try because there's a victory in never having to show that you couldn't do it or something like that. You know what I mean? So it's a little crazy. I previously had failed many, many times. All right. And so in a lot of things, school, wrestling, I didn't make the wrestling team in junior high school. I didn't make the football team, even though I tried out for them. And so that it would cause these things to come up. I had every one of these objections. All right. And so there's another concept on this, and that is that people decide on emotion, justify with logic that isn't logical. Okay. All right. So, like a person says, you know what, I don't think I can do it. And then they say, I don't have time. Okay, let me just get this straight. You have time. I'm talking to Tim here in past tense. You have time to make $1,500 a month, but you don't have time to make $150,000 a month. Now, if you just heard, but how many people do that, right? That was your voice, okay? Sorry. I know how it goes, right? And so, since when do I not have time to go after a business that I could do that could make that? Since when do I have time? Since when do I don't have the money? I turn around and look at my garage. I have a whole bunch of stuff. I got a storage unit. In other words, I'm paying for somebody else to keep my stuff that I don't use, right? Tell me there's not enough money to buy the skincare kit that I had to buy, right? So, it doesn't make any sense. But a person would decide, I can't do it. Just like that. That is pure self-invalidation. You don't even know that you can't do it. Decide on emotion. The emotion is, I can't do it. Okay? I'm afraid of failing. That's the decision. And then you justify it with logic, and I'm talking about Tim here. I can't do it. I don't have the time. Whatever these things are here, I justify it with one of these things that we're calling logic that isn't even logical. That's truth. Okay, when you really break it all down, you put it on a whiteboard, create your wheel and the pivot points coming off of it, you'll figure it out. All right? It is the thing. So, who you are now and who you will become. Now, your habits and routines deliver your current results, whatever it is. Weight, if you're underweight or overweight, it is your habits and routines that deliver your current results. Duh. Could be no other way. Identity doesn't matter who you think you are, bigger or smaller, not weight-wise, but I'm talking about just you as a person. Identity is a composite of your current habits and routines. It can't be anything more than that. And so that's hard to confront. I get it. Wait a minute, I thought I was like the king. No, not quite. Because your habits and routines are not king-like. Right? Like that is the truth of it. So, future. All right, so who you are now, it's based on your habits and routines. Who you will become. In the future, it's vital to see yourself doing future habits and routines to become the new you. So when you have an idea, somebody tosses you a business, right? So they just threw something and then you threw an idea at the thing that they throw you. So if this was the business somebody shows you, you're going to throw an idea at that. And the idea is going to recoil back and say, I can't do it. If it comes back and says that, then it's that whole list of self-invalidation. That's pessimism at its definition. Okay? But if it comes back and says, what would I need to learn? That's optimism. And that's the fundamental difference. All right? What assets do I have? All right, well, I have this person who's willing to show me a business. I have this person who's willing to train me. There's, let's say, 5 people up the line that also would be willing to pay me or train me. I have people, like me here, that are giving me knowledge on this subject. And so, in other words, there's assets all around. When a person self-invalidates, they block off all assets that they could have used. Okay, so let's say that a person's making $50,000. If they want to make $100,000, then now your current habits and routines have gotten you to $50,000. You want to make $100,000. What are you going to have to do? It's vital to see yourself doing future habits and routines to become the new you. That's the only possible way. And anytime something comes back as an excuse, you have to grab a hold of it, because that thing is holding you back in more than just this. All right? You got to grab a hold of it. And this is the thing I show in every video. It's called the pipeline. It's what everybody has to do in any business, in any walk of life. You have to do these steps: generate a lead, contact, set an appointment, do a presentation, follow up, get a customer or a rep, service them, you make money. Okay? Every politician has to do it. Every college has to do it. Everybody has to do these things. And so if you made $50,000 and you want to make $100,000 or $250,000, so this is $50,000. If you want to go from here to here, then you're going to have to change actions on this board. And you have to see yourself doing those actions. And whatever recoils back, you have to like grab that thing and look at it and say, wait a minute, is that real? Is that logical? Because you're making decisions on it, even though it may not be logical. And so you got to look at that thing and say, oh, wait a minute now, I do have the money. Wait a minute now, I do know people. I mean, there's 7 billion people on the planet. Surely I can find somebody, right? Like, it's that simple to just, like, whatever recoils back as invalidation, self-invalidation, look at it, examine it. Because ideally, here's the current situation. This is what your goal is. And you've got some arrows pointing to it and say, well, maybe I could, let me look at this and something like that. But you've got a lot of dispersal error. In other words, all of you is not going this way. There's a piece, 3 pieces in this. There's 3 green arrows heading towards that, but there's a whole lot of arrows that are dispersed of thought and actions. And so you're dispersed. It's not clear to you exactly what are the steps. What do I have to absolutely do? What routines do I really need to change? What habits do I have to get in? Okay? And so what you're really wanting is this: thoughts plus actions in alignment. And when you get that in line, it's just smooth. And then you just do the pipeline with no drama. And that's all there is, and there ain't no more. That's an old song called Hot Rod Lincoln. Anyway, you might look it up. It's just a funny song. My dad used to always use that expression. That's all there is, and there ain't no more. And that, in my world, is what I'm always trying to do to help people, is to get all of their arrows lined up in alignment and their actions to equal that. It's not enough to set a goal, right? It's part of the equation, but it's not all of the equation. All right? And so the moment of truth is to project success. So Here is football player. The football is the idea. Okay? Let's say this is a calendar. You throw out on your calendar what you're going to do today, tomorrow, the next day, blah, 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 right? So you throw out that idea. And then what recoil do you get? When you write it in your calendar, what recoil do you get? Okay, that's what you're looking for. All right, so it's a moment of truth. If it's failure, you got to solve it. You got to look at it in a positive light, an optimistic light. Okay, you go, you do it. If you succeed, you laugh. If you fail, laugh. It's all the same, because all the pipeline is, you're just doing those actions. And yeah, okay, a little bit more happy, but in the end, you're just going to keep doing it. In other words, if you celebrate too much, you're almost acting as though you didn't expect that result. Expect that result. And when you don't have success, if somebody says no that you wanted to say yes, laugh. When somebody signs up, laugh. Just smile. Good. Right? That's all. That's all. So that is the kind of the way that I work that. Now, I just want to toss something in here on the end, and that has to do with, can you help a person who is projecting failure, the pessimist? Can you help them? And I will remind you how I started this presentation. I had all of those objections. Every one of them. At one time or another. Every one of them. Okay, so I wasn't such a positive-minded person. I wasn't looking at success. I didn't have this knowledge at that time. It's why I feel as though that this is probably one of the most valuable videos that I'll ever do. Because it has to do with that you realize when you're doing this self-invalidation. So I had all those objections. And Rick Mayo, that is the gentleman who brought me into network marketing, he saw in me what I didn't. Okay? So what I'm going to try to do, and by the way, I have tried the rest of my life in this industry to do that. And sometimes, most of the time, it doesn't work. The person is too pessimistic. I can't get the person past that. And I'm talking about whether to join or once they get in, to stay in and to realize the simplicity of the pipeline. They see it as failure on every step. I don't know how to find leads. I don't know what to say to the person. I don't know what to send them. I send them and they didn't look. And in other words, it's just constant recoil. And so they leave. They're like, I'm out. Too hard. I'm not cut out for this. This isn't me. Whatever that self-invalidation turns out to be. And so I'm not able to help everybody. And so we're in a dichotomy, aren't we? Conundrum. Help or don't help. Help or dismiss. Right? And here is my rule. If they're willing to do the pipeline, then I will help them. When they stop doing the pipeline, I will attempt. I will try some more. But if they will not do it, then I can't help them. Rick saw in me what I didn't. And I see in others the same thing he saw in me. But they won't, I can't get them to see that. And so I have to step back because it's a lot of lost production to try to prop somebody up that just keeps on invalidating themselves. Okay? So I had a bit of history with that. So this is Timmy. My sister's the only person that's allowed to call me that. And I had a dream of that bike. Okay, I'd walked through Sears, Roebuck and Company, and it was the first bike that had disc brakes, and I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen in my life. And so I set a goal and a target, and I tried to get that. And I did do that. And I'm talking about mowing yards to get $3 for mowing the yard. And it would take me a couple of years to get $112 for that bike. All right. And so when I would be dragging that lawnmower with a milk jug gas can on the handle, my buddies would be playing in the street, and they would say stuff to me like, "Come on, man, play ball." And I'd say, "No, I want to get this bike. I want to get this bike," for 2 years. And so then once I come flying through there on my bike, they were like, "Oh, you're so lucky to have a bike." And I said, No. And I was I had this guy on the back, kid, and then I didn't have a place to sit, so I would stand up and I would pedal. And so I said, "Man, we got to get you a bike. I'll show you how to do it." And the first day, we walked and knocked on doors, and my friend said, "It's too far to walk. I don't want to do that." And I tried everything. In other words, I was willing to let him use my lawnmower. I would do half the work. But he wasn't willing to do it. And I just didn't understand it. Then I got into the Navy, and there's a problem that you have in the Navy when you're on a ship is that you don't have a vehicle. And so how can you date? Picking up a cab is not cool. Today, we would have done Uber, but back then it was just really not cool. And so I wanted to get a Jeep, okay? It was $6,300 that I had to pay for that Jeep. And so I did work. I would walk around a mall, and I would take a business card, and I would look at the car, and I would see if there were any door dings. And if there were door dings, I would give a quote, and I would put it into the windshield wiper, the quote. And so then they would call me, and I would schedule it for Saturday because that was the only day I could do it. And then I would go in, and I would, bondo, and I would paint, and I would make money that way to get that. All right. So my buddies, they were all like, "Oh man, it's so cool that you have a car. I wish I had a car." And I'd say, "I can help you." And this is in Hawaii, and there was a mall, and it was Circle. And I would walk in between all those cars around the whole thing. 6 hours walking a parking lot. This is stupid. That's what my best friend said. I'm not doing this. There's no car worth that. And so I tell this to you because if somebody won't do the pipeline, I can't help them. If somebody is going to come to that conclusion that quick, I'm talking about the first day they're saying that. And so I think that's probably the primary piece that has to go down. So once I got into network marketing part-time, not a nice guy. Okay. My friends, when I joined a skincare company, they said, "Tim, you've become a sissy." Right? And they cut me down for it. Right? Like, what happened to you, man? After I got to $150,000 a month, taught at the University of Illinois at Chicago, certificate course on this, interviewed by Larry King, Grant Cardone, made many, many millions of dollars. Somebody said that, we all in the community know each other. And I was talking to somebody in the community of EOD, that's what we call it, in the military. And they were like, "Yeah, I heard you won the lottery." Yeah, I did. And I just left it at that, because that's the way that they viewed it. So anyway, I wanted to walk all that through because you may have to handle other people's opinions of you and don't adopt them because now you're self-invalidating yourself. So if somebody said you're a sissy because you sell skincare, then if I adopted that idea, I didn't. Okay, so, but if I had of, then it did mess with me, all right, in the beginning, and I had to look at that. And I remember thinking, you know, when I go into a department store, I always see like these beautiful girls that are working at skincare line, but I wonder who owns them. In other words, owns the line of products, Chanel or whatever they have. I wonder who owns those people, you know, owns those companies or shareholders or whatever it is, right? And so I viewed myself in a different light, that I'm doing the selling part for a period of time so that I really truly understand the customer, but there's going to be a point in time where I'm going to be teaching other salespeople. So that's the way that I adopted that as a concept in my head, so that I wouldn't like self-invalidate myself. Okay. So I hope this has been super helpful, because in the end, it's always just going to come back to this simplicity. Doesn't matter if you go and get a franchise. It doesn't matter what you do. You're going to end up doing a pipeline some way. And I've just never seen a business that had the ability for a person to conquer so much, to achieve so much. And so if they will learn the pipeline, you can help them. And if not, they probably have too much to learn in personal development for you to be able to help them. And so, but I have a very patient heart, if you want to call it that. In other words, I love people. I love more than anything helping them. I have many, many, many millionaires on my team, and I think that patience has a whole lot to do with it, but I do tend to waste time. Okay, and so I just wanted to share both sides of that equation with you, because you're going to have to balance it. In the beginning, you try to help everybody, and that'll end up slowing you down so that you never quite get going, you know. And number one objection that I have from leaders is, my people aren't doing anything. And I'm like, yeah, just keep doing the pipeline, you know. So anyway, I hope this helps. If you like this video, and if you appreciate that I do these videos, please comment, share, subscribe down below. Let me know what you think about this. Give me your experiences in the comments down below. I appreciate you watching.